Hey guys, and welcome to another video here on my channel. If this is the first time we are meeting, welcome. My name is Jamila Bannister and I'm a personal branding strategist and coach. And this channel is the place to be if you want to learn how to market your business by leading from the front with thought leadership and personal branding. So in this week's video, I'm actually going to keep it very simple, and I just want to talk to you about thought leadership and what it takes to become a thought leader. You know, it's not just a matter of putting your views on the internet or updating your status as you would expect. You know, you really do have to think about how you want to show up strategically, and you actually have to plan the way that you will show up to your audience, where you will show up, how often you will show up, and how you will show up. So in this week's video, I'm going to give you some great tips on how you could start building your name in your niche as a thought leader and an influencer. So the first thing I want to do before we dive into the video is making the distinction between influencer and thought leader. Now, this is based on my experience and me having an understanding of the industry that I am in. Now, thought leaders may be influencers and may very well be very influential, but influencers may not necessarily be thought leaders. And I will tell you the difference as I give you the tips on how you can become a thought leader. So the first thing that you actually have to do as a thought leader, the first thing I would recommend that you do is to produce original content. And not just produce original content, but produce content that actually contributes to your industry and sets a benchmark for the people who may be interested in learning about what you have to offer. And that is like a major difference between thought leadership and just being influential. So as a thought leader, the things that you put out there are intended to not just reveal what you may have been working on or reveal some discovery that you may have made, but it also contributes to the growth of your industry, and it really helps people become better. It really helps people to think about things from a different perspective, and it adds dimension to the work that everyone is doing. So one of the first things you have to do as a thought leader is to produce original content that actually contributes and gives back to the industry, that is valuable and that people can take and apply to their own lives, and it makes a difference for them. And speaking of original content, one of the big ways to be able to produce original content is research. So as a thought leader, you never want to stop reading, learning, and researching things about your industry or about things that can affect you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, because these are the things that actually are going to contribute to the original thought and to the strength of your piece of information, content, your white paper, or whatever you may be producing to be able to contribute to your industry. You can't know new things if you never, or if you don't read and consume information and use that information to add dimension, to add depth to the things that you already know, or to add in areas where you may not have known something at all. So as a thought leader, first thing you do is produce original thought. But of course, in order to produce that, you need to be in a place where you are always researching, always consuming new information, and always adding to your depth of knowledge and the breadth of things that you know. A very, very important part of being a thought leader is simply being consistent. As a matter of fact, a very important part of being a leader is being consistent. Nobody wants to be led by someone who shows up now and then they don't show up the next day and you're not quite sure which direction they're heading. People like consistency, and in order for you to lead people, you've got to give people some level of consistency. They need to know that you will be there when you say you will be there. They need to know that you will actually deliver on the things that you promise to deliver on. So you have to be consistent in you showing up. You have to be consistent in your word, your deed. You just have to be consistent 100%. For somebody to really know, like, and trust you, you have to train them in the ways that they should know, like, and trust you, so that when they have an expectation of you showing up every Tuesday at 5 or whatever schedule you put them on, you know, they can rely on you that you will actually show up then, and that is what will differentiate you from people who are fair weather persons who just kind of come by the way, being very consistent. Another important component of being a thought leader is learning how to build a community. I mean, what's the thought leader if they have no one to lead, right? So, of course, you must put systems in place in order for you to build a community, and you must be really good at building those relationships with people on your level, as in your peers, as well as an audience who may want to learn more from you and more about you. You have to be able to create that community, and with digital media now, it's so much easier to build a community organically. You just have to show up consistently, as I said before, and continue to give them things of value. So whether you want to build that community on places like YouTube, or you want to build it around a podcast, or you may want to build it in a group, wherever you want to build it, you have to ensure that you actually build a community so that you actually have people that buy into your vision and buy into the values and the concepts that you have surrounding the work that you do. And once you do that, you'd realize that your community is the base from which everything else unfolds. That's where you get your brand advocates, that's where you probably get your customers, your clients, and that's where you get your most fierce supporters. So as a thought leader, you've got to set up systems in order to build a community around the philosophies that you espouse. Of course, another critical element of becoming a thought leader is having baseline brand values that will guide the development of your thought leadership career, and also provide a baseline for the people who may engage with you and the things that you put out. Now, for every person who is a thought leader, or you want to build a community around yourself, there must be some philosophies that binds everybody together, some belief system that they buy into. For me, it is very important that people are very authentic, that people are open to learning and growth, and that people are ready to put themselves out there and take their place in their industry as a leader. Anyone who buys into the things I do must at the very least have those things within their minds, and they're ready to put themselves out there. There can't be somebody who's shy, afraid, or scared, or somebody who's not willing to go the distance. So if you want to become a thought leader and you want to be able to build a certain community around yourself and build certain systems and structures around yourself, and based on the things that you put out there, you must have some baseline brand values that serve as a guide and a beacon for not just you, but for the people who buy into your vision. And last but certainly not least, as a matter of fact, I think this one might be the most, is that you must be really good at building relationships, because this is the way you're going to multiply your effort without having to put yourself in multiple places at once. When you build relationships with particularly with people who are also quite influential, what you do is that you get buy-in from them, and you also get attention from their audiences. So if you want to be able to multiply your effort without splitting yourself in multiple parts and sending yourself everywhere, what you're going to do is you're going to build relationships with people who can actually get you where you need to be, and that you can offer value in exchange with as well. So you guys will almost work in a synergistic type of way, where each of you benefit from the audience of the other. And that is one very simple way of getting your effort and your thought and your philosophies out to many people who may be similar to you and who may be looking for someone just like you to listen to tune into, and to be inspired by. So by now, I'm sure you've recognized that thought leadership is like any other form of leadership. It's extremely self-sacrificial, and it means that you have to be the one to lead the charge. You have to be the one to show up and give value. You have to be the one to create the opportunities for community to be built. You have to be the one to actually research and contribute to your industry. Just like any other form of leadership as well, people want to see you show up consistently. People want you to be there when you say you would, in order for them to eventually know you, like you, and trust that you would do the things that you say you would do. Right? So it is not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that is going to be a flash in the pan, as they say. It's consistent work and building that relationship between yourself and the people who believe that you can deliver what you say you can. So if you are looking to start to leverage this type of marketing strategy in your business, feel free to reach out to me. The links are in the description. You can actually sign up to watch my 6 keys masterclass, which is also in the description. So guys, let me know what you thought about this video if you are looking to do this. I mean, after all, this is why I call it leading from the front with thought leadership, because that is exactly where you'll be as you build your brand. So guys, thanks again for watching this video, and until the next one, have a great one. Ciao.